whether it's in an apartment project or somebody's existing house or a condo that somebody wants to rent, anything like that. So it's lots of different opportunities that you can look at through padmacro.com. VirginiaHousingSearch.com is primarily apartments, but they tend to be apartments in tax credit properties, low-income housing tax credit properties, or private nonprofit affordable housing properties. And these are all across the state of Virginia, so that's not just in Fairfax County. HCSB, which stands for Housing and Community Services of Northern Virginia, produces a weekly document that basically pulls from all sorts of different resources, including the Washington Post, apartments.com, lots of different things, but their focus is on affordable units. They're not going to be telling you about the $2,000 per month apartment that you can get in, Clarendon. They're going to be talking to you about what they think, folks can afford that are going to be on the much more economical side of things. And then, of course, I heard somebody talk about it before. Craigslist and Kijiji are very good places to look for real affordable properties. Okay, so in terms of our local government's affordable housing plan, where do people with disabilities really fit in? Fairfax County has been doing a lot of planning around affordable housing in the past year or two. It became a really big issue after there were a couple of properties that got a lot of attention and started to get developed that really did not include a whole lot of affordable housing for people with extremely low incomes and people with disabilities. They were kind of advertised as affordable housing, but it was affordable housing for people who make much more than 50% of the area median income. And so a lot of advocates stood up and said, hey, what about us? And so the Board of Supervisors took note of that, and they said, you know what, we really do need to start looking at this, and we really do need to start focusing the resources that we have that are really meant for affordable housing on affordable housing for the people who can least afford it. So this Fairfax County Blueprint for Housing was the product of some of those efforts, was one of the products of some of those efforts. The blueprint has several goals. One of them is to end homelessness in 10 years. Another is to provide affordable housing options to those with special needs. The third is to reduce the waiting lists for affordable housing by half in 10 years. And those are waiting lists, whether they're through the Housing Authority or through the CSB or through Department of Family Services across, countywide. And the fourth is to produce workforce housing sufficient to accommodate projected job growth. The idea there is, if you can house some of the people who right now are living in the affordable housing that the people who really need that affordable housing can afford, then we can take some of the pressure off and and stop having people with very low incomes compete with people who have slightly higher incomes for the same unit. Because right now, you have people who are working and who have, median incomes competing for the same extremely affordable unit as a person who has a very low income. Well, guess who's going to win that unit, hands down? It ain't going to be the person with a very low income. It's going to be the person who can very quickly and easily demonstrate that they have the credit rating, that they have the 2 months security deposit, that they can pay, their rent in advance, They're going to win hands down because it's the market, and that they can show that they've got everything that they need right away, and that's who gets the housing first. So if we can start getting those people to move into other housing, then it frees up units for people units that are very, very affordable for those who need very, very affordable units. Okay, so some approaches that this blueprint is taking is to house those with the greatest need. We're going to partner with nonprofits. The county is going to partner with nonprofits and refocus its resources, its existing resources, to make sure that everything is channeled and everything is directed to those with the greatest need. And it's going to make sure that all of those resources are working kind of in a coordinated fashion, so that where the resources are coming from different directions, they all have the same priority. everybody's working to focus on the people who have the most need. Another approach is something we already talked about, which is this bridging affordability program. A third approach is what the county is calling strategic housing programs. The county wants to be able to, in particular the Department of Housing, wants to be able to support nonprofit developers to produce or acquire 100 units of multifamily housing a year with county assistance, the low-income housing tax credits that we talked about, or other specialized financing. That way we can again build the housing stock that we need because we don't have, quite frankly, enough stock. And the fourth approach is to build private partnerships to expand workforce housing. And in that area, we want to create land use policies and incentives that are going to kind of be a carrot for the private market to produce affordable housing. We're going to help, we're going to tell them, hey, if you make this amount of affordable housing, we're going to give you this much more density to create more units that will pay you the money that you want. We're going to explore the use of county surplus land. So there's land in the county that right now is either being used for a different purpose or is sitting not being used. And we can repurpose that land to be used for affordable housing. We can fast-track certain land use policies that will encourage the development of what we call residential studio units, which are basically very, very, very affordable efficiency units. And we can encourage private landlords to maintain affordable housing. One of our big problems is we have very affordable units that are just market units. There are no restrictions on them, there's no programs attached to them. But if those landlords sell their property, then whoever buys that property is going to be sure to jack up those rents so that they're no longer affordable. We need to put together some incentives that encourage private landlords to keep their properties, keep them in good shape, and keep them very reasonable in their rents. And last, we want to look at making down payment assistance and gap financing available to first-time home buyers so that we can actually create some home buyers in this process and help people make the transition from renting to home buying. Okay. Oh, back. There we go. So, the blueprint basically lays out a plan every fiscal year for exactly how we're going to achieve these goals. So in fiscal year 2012, it actually lays out different projects that we're going to pursue that are going to create certain numbers of units that are going to house certain numbers of people, so that we can meet the targets that we're trying to achieve. So for fiscal year 2012, which is what we're coming into very soon, there's permanent affordable housing for the homeless that we're trying to strive for to meet our goal to end homelessness. And there are several different projects under here that create a number of units, quite a number of units in that direction. And you can see what we're doing is we're taking our existing resources and we're focusing them. We're taking those project-based vouchers, we're taking those continuum of care units, we're taking existing units that we have that right now are in a shelter, and we're converting them into permanent housing. So we're saying, you know what? Let's stop running people through shelters. Let's start just taking these units that are in a shelter and putting a bathroom in it, making putting a little kitchen unit in it, and let's just make it permanent housing so a person doesn't have to keep going through the revolving door of a shelter. We're taking vouchers, basically Section 8 vouchers, and we're targeting them to those who need them the most, people who are homeless. We have nonprofits that we're partnering with to acquire units for people who are homeless, and we're using our Bridging Affordability Program to serve the homeless. And then for permanent affordable housing for people with special needs, we're applying to HUD for a special kind of Section 8 that serves non-elderly people with disabilities. And then there's a bunch of other types of programs that we're using where we're designating certain Fairfax County rental programs, units for people with disabilities.
Quick inspection on the first bullet for housing for the homeless. I've got 175 people that are targeted for 2012 to be helped. How many of them can only handle mentally ill individuals? Those 175 homeless.
Just about all of them. In fact, all of them will
They
be.
wouldn't be vetted out as not qualifying for one reason or another?
Well, no, because the bridging report, for example, the bridging affordability programs are going to actually be reviewed for their capacity to provide supportive services for the homeless. Continuum of care programs are HUD programs where they have to provide supportive services, and those units are typically targeted specifically for people who are homeless and have mental illness.
Well, that's why I was looking at, it was just those, or collectively from total 175, that potentially handle the majority of that community.
Yes, the majority, yes. Now, that's not saying that every single one of these is going to go to a person with mental illness, but they have the capacity to be able to serve.
As long as there's an advocate to assist.
Yeah. Well, yes, and as long as there's the community services board that's helping people get assessed and getting guided to the right places, and yes, so it's going to have to be a combined effort of a number of different things.
Yeah, I want to say, I attended the NAMI commission, and, I started Laura's houses and followed after my daughter, but they don't have enough services for my daughter. And, we have, Stevenson Place, which is for Fairfax County, 36 mentally ill people that get 24/7 services. It's been available about 15 years. It has a turnover of approximately 2 a year.
It's very cool.
And a waiting list of about 100. And the waiting list is not, it's not first come, it's by need. I mean, you can be on that waiting list and be the next chosen. And in the Beeman Commission, they did ask for more Stevenson places. And I don't see anything here that has, I think I see 8 people, and the county does have 8 people, has several 8 people with 24/7. But John McNair did a study, and 8 people cost $60 more a day per person. So you have these smaller units, they attack Stevenson Place because they call it an institution. But, the doors are locked to come in, not to leave. Nobody has to stay there. They have people employed that live there. But they're very sick and they need those services. But I don't see any help for those people in this list.
Well, we'll talk about that because that's actually one of the strategies that we need to address. So that's.
But that's in the Beeman Commission.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's the blueprint. Now there's a whole nother local plan that also addresses people with disabilities, and that's called the 10-year plan to end homelessness. The blueprint was basically a plan that was really developed by the county. The 10-year plan is a plan that's more developed by the community of advocates, nonprofits, in conjunction with the county agencies, and so it's a much broader set of stakeholders developing this plan. But it's got some very similar